Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button, because when you hit that bell button, you're going to get alerted to any time I go live or upload any new content. I cannot thank everybody enough. Like, seriously, I'm blown away from the amount of people that have been checking out the Tuddle Daily Podcast live stream. And I'll be doing another one tonight at 8, so make sure you don't miss it. I'm also blown away by all the people that are super chatting. I know that I've brought this up already and talked about being monetized now on YouTube. And it just means a lot, because it was one of the goals that I had at the beginning of 2021 was to get enough to reach their quotas. You know, you had to have over 2,000 subscribers as well as 4,000 hours worth of viewing time in a calendar year. And I was able to get that. It was hard. It was very, very difficult, because right before my dad passed away, I was doing a live stream every single night. And I was also doing the Tuddle Daily Podcast, the audio version. And it took me a little bit of time to get back into it. I talked about how I missed out on that radio gig. Kind of slipped last night on the live stream and mentioned what market it was. I'm still not going to mention the show or the station. But in radio broadcasting, it is a big deal if you ever get a chance to work in a top 10 radio market. And the market that I was actually applying for was in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. I used to go there all the time when I was married. Me and my ex-wife, Kristen, we would go to Dragon Con. And if you're a fan of conventions, sci-fi, comic book, any of that such, definitely you need to go to Dragon Con. I actually think it's happening this weekend. I could be wrong, but I missed out on that. And yesterday, I was a little down. I'll admit it. I get down. I give myself about 24 hours. Now that I've stopped drinking, I'm off all the drugs and alcohol, I give myself a day to, just be a little down. But that's it. That's all I give myself, and now it's only motivated me even more. And all the money that you guys have been donating to my PayPal, paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio, or the money that you guys are doing in Super Chats during my live streams, it now has made me focus, and I'm finally going to get that studio built. And what that means is that I plan on kind of like flipping the script just a little bit. I'm going to start doing a 2-hour live stream on my YouTube channel that you guys will be able to check out. But I would like to hear from you, because I don't want to compete with Bubba. I don't want to compete with the other morning shows. And I would like to hear from you guys what time would be the best time for me to do the live stream. Middays, afternoon drive, nights. I would like to hear from you. There's 2 ways you can get a hold of me. You can email me, Tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with 2 Ds, TUDDLE@gmail.com. Or leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. Because that's the thing about it. I've worked nighttime radio on 2 separate occasions. For the most part, I've pretty much done morning radio. I worked with Drew Garabo at night at Real Radio 104.1, as well as Spice Boy when I was working at The Bone. We did nights there as well. But, I mean, it comes with a caveat, though, because you're competing with broadcast TV. People have a lot of their shows and stuff that they watch religiously. So, seriously, like, I'm not one of those hosts where I think I know what's best. I seriously would love to get some feedback from you guys and hear what time would be the best. And then what I'm going to do with that 2-hour live stream, I'm going to take the audio from that, and then I'm going to put it up on the Tuddle Daily Podcast audio side of the company. And then I'm also going to do some exclusive stuff. I'm also talking to other podcasters that might want to start doing some shifts. I don't want people to think like I'm getting a big head or anything, like I'm trying to start a radio network. I know a lot of people last night in the chat room on my live stream on youtube.com/Tuddle. A lot of people are saying, Bubba's going to be mad if you name it the Tuddle Radio Network. Well, guess what? MRN, Motor Racing Network, was before the BRN. So I don't think there is a trademark on the RN thing, Radio Network. But then somebody said Tuddle Broadcasting Network, TBN. Almost sounds like TBS, and I think I might go with that one. I'm not sure. Once again, would love some feedback from you guys. Tuddle@gmail.com or leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. One of the first stories I wanted to get into is this story about Dog the Bounty Hunter. He ended up doing this interview with Entertainment Tonight, and his daughter is just like spreading all types of information. And when I first heard it, I was like, is she just pissed that she wasn't included in on the TV show, or was she cut out of money? I really, really don't know. But after hearing the audio, Dog the Bounty Hunter just seems even more ridiculous than what I thought before, because he explains his use of the N-word while talking to his son on the phone, and then is the daughter that's bringing all that stuff up, because he says that the reason why, or she said the reason why he's mad at her is because she supports Black Lives Matter. And then there's also accusations of him being homophobic. And it's one of the cringiest interviews that I've ever heard. I don't know why a lot of people do this, especially Entertainment Tonight. They think that they got to add this dramatic music underneath of it. And for the most part, I will refuse. I absolutely despise when they play music underneath interviews. But this is the only place that I could find it, and I got to do what I got to do.
22-year-old Bonnie also claims she was not invited to her dad's wedding because she supports the Black Lives Matter movement.
You know, his wife, Beth, I don't even know how long it's been since she died or passed away. But what is a good time frame to wait? Because you don't want to get married way too soon, right after your wife passes away. It almost makes me seem like this was like a side chick that I already had waiting in the wings for Beth to die. I think she died of cancer. I don't even know if it was breast cancer, because I got to tell you, Beth, when I used to watch the show, when it first came out, it was okay, but then it got really, really crappy. But my God, I would love to know the size of her bra size, because she had some of the biggest boobs that I had ever seen in my life. And I don't know, like, if you got big boobs and you get breast cancer, is it actually worse or better? And I'm not trying to shock jock. I'm not trying to make jokes or whatever. But you would think that women that have bigger boobs would have bigger cancer. I don't even know if that even matters. Bigger cancer, smaller cancer, cancer schmancer. That's what I got to say.
Do you support that organization?
Yes, I do. I have never been a racist. I'm 33.5% Apache.
Is dog claiming, I don't even know, he might be Apache, or is it because he has lived in Hawaii most of his life, and I don't even know where he's born from, but man, his skin looks like an old dried up leather purse or bag that's been sitting out in the Florida sun or the Hawaiian sun, because my God, how has this guy not gotten skin cancer? And do you gotta rock the feather earrings and the old like Oakley style blades? Because he loves those. And I always found it funny that Dog the Bounty Hunter was never allowed to carry a gun because he is a former felon. And I always hated how he would try to preach to people. He would like, I want to pray with you, brother, before I bring you into jail. I mean, Hawaii, I don't even understand how Hawaii even allowed him to film there. Because I always thought Hawaii was like some of this like paradise, perfect beaches, everybody nice. But man, after watching that show, it's a big asshole. Like seriously, the ice, the methamphetamines, the opiates. I was like, man, this is really making Hawaii look really crappy. But wait until you hear he uses the stereotypical white trash from the South excuse on why he said the N-word. And it sent douche chills right up my back.
But because of over 15 years ago, I have an Achilles heel because I used the wrong word.
Well, let me ask you about that. That moment 15 years ago.
Yes, sir.
That phone call with your son.
Correct.
By the way, did they really need to play the music underneath of it? Like, you hear a lot of radio shows that play music under them during the segments and stuff, and it just shows, like, that you can't carry or make the interview as dramatic as you need it to be, so you put in the music, and it makes it seem cheesy and corny. And by the way, the guy that's doing the interview is African-American. You know, Entertainment Tonight, they knew that, oh, we got a Dog the Bounty Hunter interview coming up. He said the N-word. Give me my best black guy that we can send out and interview Dog the Bounty Hunter.
You were using language, and over 6 times during that call, you used the N-word.
Yes, sir.
Why were you using that word so freely?
Well, I thought I had a pass in the black tribe to use it, kind of like Eminem.
Why, for one single goddamn minute, would Dog the Bounty Hunter compare himself to Eminem? Now, I could be wrong, but I've heard a lot. Matter of fact, I pretty much have heard every single thing that Eminem has put out, and I cannot recall Eminem ever using the N-word in any of his rap songs. And like I said, I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, I would like to hear from you guys. Tuddle@gmail.com, or give me a phone call, voicemail 407-270-3044. But as far as I know, I've never, ever heard Eminem use the N-word in any of his music.
Who gave you the pass?
The brothers.
Who were the brothers?
I had just, gotten out of prison in 1979 after spending time in 18 months in Texas, and it was probably 3/4 from the black tribe.
Am I the only one that finds it weird that he keeps saying and using the word tribe? Is it because he claims to be Apache? Which he very well may be, but it does not sound right when he says the black tribe. This interview could not have gone any worse for Dog the Bounty Hunter. And by the way, the new chick that he's with, Beth was not the best looking chick, but man, she had a rack. This new one, she looks like somebody that Dog probably had a bounty that he had to collect on, fell in love with her because, man, oh man, He looks definitely like your stereotypical Florida meth head.
So that was a word that we used back and forth as maybe a compliment.
Am I the only one that does not believe that story? Like, seriously, a white guy, I think he said that he went to jail in 79. I don't think any African-American in jail would be okay with some whitey calling them the N-word. I'm just saying, maybe it works differently in Texas. You know, they all say it's nothing but steers and queers. I don't even know. Like, I know that they're probably homophobic, but also at the same time, like I said, I don't think a bunch of hardcore African-American criminals is going to be fine with somebody that looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter calling them the N-word.
My pass expired for using it, but no one told me that.
Dog the Bounty Hunter is acting like he had a pass and he didn't know about it, like it was a AAA card, you know, the roadside assistant card, and they send you that thing and say, hey, you got to renew your pass to say the N-word, and if you don't pay up, you don't get to use that word anymore, my friend. And Dog the Bounty Hunter, I guess he maybe had a change of address or something like that, and just wasn't notified that his calling people N-words had expired.
To say a racist name doesn't qualify to make you a racist.
Man, he really did contradict himself there, because he just said to call somebody a racist name doesn't make you a racist. Let's go here. All right. If you say that it's a racist name and you say a racist name, doesn't that make you a racist? Like, I mean, does Dog the Bounty Hunter even have a publicist or somebody to get in his ear and be like, all right, this is how you need to handle this interview? But I think he probably just went into it cold and was like, I'm going to nail this. I'm charming. I'm Dog the Bounty Hunter. I can't be racist just because I say a racist name. It doesn't make sense.
If you use that word, use that word and you use it in your regular everyday life, it makes you a racist.
I have more black friends than Eminem.
Why would you say that? Like, I mean, everybody makes the joke here in the United States about the Gitterduns, the people from the South, or anybody like that uses the N-word, or white guys that live the hip-hop lifestyle. And for you to say, he basically said, I've got a lot of black friends. And that is the defense that a lot of people use here in the South, or even in the United States in general. I don't even know if that's even a term that is used in other countries. But, man, you just royally effed up by saying that. And also, I can guarantee you, you do not have more black friends than Eminem. Matter of fact, if I was Eminem, I would be pissed that Dog the Bounty Hunter was actually comparing himself to me. It just, man, like I said, this interview went sideways from the first word that came out of this leather-bagged face bounty hunter.
That is the proximity argument. Like, okay, I have lots of black friends, so that should make me okay with black people. Chapman also denies his daughter's allegations that he used homophobic language. Why would she say that?
She's been fed what to say. I have 3 people that are on my staff that are gay men.
Mm-hmm. See, he's double dipping. He's doubling down. He's actually like at the blackjack table where you split the cards and you throw in some extra chips because you got a good hand and you want to split it. He doubled down on the whole thing. I got plenty of black friends, more black friends than Eminem, and I got a bunch of gay employees. Okay. I mean, does that excuse you? And I would believe if he is saying the N-word, I'm sure that I could almost guarantee you he is using homophobic slurs.
My daughter's gay, baby Lisa. I don't understand why anybody would ever say that.
I hear what you're saying. But remember, proximity does not mean that you're not racist or homophobic.
Would I die for a gay man or a black man? I'd lay down my life.
Fuck me. Like, I almost feel bad for him, but I also don't. Like, I just don't understand why some of the people, like, why would you even agree to this interview if you were not properly prepared for this? Because this interview did no good. Matter of fact, it only hurts you. It makes you look like the dumbest ass, racist, homophobic piece of shit that you are. And I don't understand, like, I don't even know if he's still on the TV. Man, that sounded like, I don't even know if he's still on the TV. It's just like my mom used to say, hey, Mom, can I go to the movies? Yeah, son, you can go to the picture show. I remember the first time I used that line because I started picking it up. And I used it when I first started out on the Ron and Fez show. I used the word picture show. Oh, my God. They destroyed me all day long by using that phrase. But what I'm trying to say is, man, I actually feel a little bad for Dog the Bounty Hunter. And the guy, everybody liked him at one point, but now he just seems like the biggest piece of shit that's ever lived. I want to play this last story before I go to break. It's really, really quick. I don't want any of you guys to think that I've never watched porn. But it's 2021 right now. And if you have a porn collection, I don't know, man. It's a little pathetic. Matter of fact, I'll make this statement right now. If you pay for pornography in any way, you are the biggest dumbass in the world. You know, like, you can find every single porn, like, video that you would ever want to see. I remember when I first got my first computer, and we lived out in the middle of nowhere, and you got to understand, we didn't have, like, broadband or anything. I had AOL, had Netscape at one time as well, too. But, you know, you would be on the computer, you'd have to dial it in, it would make a bunch of those fax machine noises and stuff. And if your mom picked up the phone, it would disconnect you, or if somebody called, it would disconnect you. And that was always a pain in the ass because I would always find like a 30-second clip. And I'd be like, oh, man, that's long. 30-second clip? But, man, it would take for hours for that thing to download. And I remember a couple of times I got like, I would sit there. You know how they always say a boiling pot of water, if you watch it, it's never going to boil. I would walk away from the computer sometimes, but then sometimes I would just sit there and watch that little progress bar. Be like, all right, I'm at 97, 98%. Phone rings, or mom picks up the phone, and I get disconnected, and I had to start all over again. But now with, like, I mean, smartphones alone, I bet you most pornography is now watched on smartphones. But the next story that I'm about to play for you, this kid is now suing his parents for throwing away his porn collection. And I'm not judging anybody, because when I was young, my dad, you know, he was out on the road, and he got the good stuff. Like, he didn't get Playboy. Like, he got Penthouse, Cherry, Jugs, Hustler. I mean, the good stuff. And I would watch those, or not watch them. I would read them, look at the pictures, because that was the best thing I had ever found. Then I also did find one time snooping around, because we all do this. When you're a young kid and you're finally discovering yourself as a man or a boy, every time your parents leave the house, the first thing you think of is, how many jack sessions can I get in before they get home? And then you would always snoop around. I told you, I've talked about this on Tom and Dan. I ended up finding some Polaroids that my mom and dad had taken, and I'll leave it at that. It was all hidden under a rusty revolver, and there was a double-sided dildo. Yeah. I've really never even talked about that much. and there's a reason that I haven't. But I just closed that drawer, and I stuck to the bathroom drawer where I knew my dad kept all of his porn magazines.
A judge is ordering a West Michigan couple to pay over $30,000 to their son for throwing out his pornography collection. The decision came about 8 months after David Working won a lawsuit against his parents. Working says that they had no right to throw out his collection.
You know, I talked about this. You know, the lesbian couple that left all their stuff in the shed. The cops told me, it was like, oh, if you don't have no agreement with them on how long you're going to take it, you give them a date, a time, and if they don't pick it up, it's considered abandoned property. And why would you do this? Like, I would never, ever sue my parents. I mean, it just makes you look like a complete, absolute dick bag, in my opinion. And now everybody knows that you're such a creep, that you are such a sexual deviant, that your pornography collection meant that much to you. And I know that some people collect a lot of weird stuff. So maybe there is like a collection group that collects old, like Playboy magazines. I'm sure some of the earlier editions of like Hustler and Playboy are most likely worth some type of money. But no, I'm not going to sue my parents. Matter of fact, if it was so important to you, you should have took it when you left.
Working had lived at his parents' home in Grand Haven for 10 months after a divorce. This before moving to Indiana.
Okay, see, now it makes a lot of sense. It really, really does. If he was living with his parents after his divorce, oh my God, this sounds like me. Sounds like me. I didn't live with my parents right after my divorce. I'm living with my mom right now, but I mean, that's out of necessity to be able to help her out and stuff. But I just don't understand who collects porn when every single piece of pornography that you could ever want is all in the tip or in the palm of your hand. Any smartphone. All these pornography websites have made their websites mobile friendly now. So yeah, it's not like you even need a computer. I'm just saying, only one person has the code to my phone, and that's my good friend Colton. And I always told him that if I ended up dying or something and he was nearby, matter of fact, don't even open it up. Just crush the phone or delete my web browser history. And then if you want to take it, take it. Because there's been some pretty fucked up stuff that I've looked at. And I'm not talking just pornography. I'm just saying stuff that I've looked at because I'm trying to do show prep or trying to find audio to talk about on my show. So what we have that agreement that he's going to get rid of any evidence if I happen to die. But really, I don't even know what it matters. What am I going to care? I'm going to be dead. It's not like I'm going to know that my parents or my mom or my friends saw what I had been looking at on my phone.
As part of the decision, Working's parents must also pay over $14,000 to his attorney.
Well, I can already tell you what happened. I'll almost tell you exactly what happened. He was in a sexless marriage, and then it just kind of compounded. Because women will, like, be spiteful, and they will withhold sex. See, guys are ready to go at any time, but women control all the sex that's going on. Because if they didn't, it would probably be considered rape. And I'm not trying to make rape jokes or anything like that, but what I'm trying to say is he probably lived in a sexless marriage. He probably was screwing up, but still wanted to get some ass, and he wasn't. And then he just started collecting porn. I'm sure that, you know what, now thinking about it, I bet I bet his wife was checking his phone, and that's why he was collecting the hardcore, not hardcore, but the stuff that you can physically touch in your hand, pornography. And I wonder even if it was VHS or DVDs that he had. Because now that makes you even more of a sicko, because some of the porn that's on VHS is some weird-ass stuff that was shot in the 70s, and we're talking about afro-sized bushes where you can't even see a person's genitalia. I'm going to take a quick break. Be back in a few minutes. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
Great news, folks. You now have the chance to see the face in front of that sexy voice. Right you are, sir. The Tuddle Daily Podcast streams Monday to Friday on YouTube. Anything can happen at the Hobo Fish Camp. Okay, sir. That's enough. Okay, so go to youtube.com/Tuddle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified anytime Tuddle goes live. Good job, sir.
If you're in the market to buy or sell a home in Volusia, Brevard, or Flagler counties, you need to reach out to Ian Hanna at ianhannahomes.com. On his site, you can learn more about Ian's use of premium photography and aggressive marketing to sell your home quickly and painlessly. So if you're a first-time buyer and not sure where to start, connect with Ian at ianhannahomes.com.
Questions? Comments? Concerns? Compliments? Or do you just want to tell Tuddle to fuck off? In any event, contact Tuddle. Tuddle@gmail.com. It's, Tuddle with 2 Ds, dumbass.
Welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. This is an interview that I was actually really interested in because there are a lot of questions about the United States Postal Service. And this is a good friend that I've actually been on his show a couple of times. He's been on my show before, the one and only Franklin the Mailman. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Just outside enjoying the weather while it's still not too hot.
Yeah. Now, well, speaking of that, why do they not give you guys air-conditioned trucks working in the Postal Service? Because I look at UPS, FedEx, it doesn't seem like any of those guys have air conditioning as well.
Money, and money. That's why.
So you basically, you got the old, what my dad liked to call the two windows going down 55 miles an hour. But you guys really got to stop a lot. So I'm sure it's got to get hot as hell.
Oh, yes. The nickname for my vehicle, which is it's called the LLV, long-lasting vehicle, we nicknamed it the Easy Bake Oven because let's say it's today, it was like 86 degrees today. Inside the LLV, it was 96 to 98 degrees. Because once that metal gets hot, it literally becomes an oven.
Now, are they concerned about any of the packages? Because sometimes, like Omaha Steaks, they send stuff. I mean, it getting that hot, are they worried about like any of that stuff getting ruined?
Yes, to a degree, because like I said,
I get it. Degree 98. Yeah, I get it. Great joke, Franklin.
Yes, they do get concerned about that at times, but most of the time, we deliver what we can. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I've been out. It's been over 90 degrees, and it gets over 100 degrees in my vehicle. I've had shampoos or whatever get so hot they pop.
Oh, no kidding.
I've had.
And you guys can't do it. You have to just give the package because you guys can't even open up any of that stuff because that's a big no-no, right? Like, so,
correct.
So you just have to give it.
The only thing I can do, basically, I have to scan it damaged. I have to scan it damaged and scan it delivered. And of course, you have the people that complain about it, and it's like, well, I can't control the temperature. I can't control what's going on the outside of my vehicle. I know for a fact, because the subject that we are going to talk about, I'll bring this up later on. When I've had certain particular oils get too hot.
Cannabis oil. Cannabis oil is what you're.
Yeah,
and
they have.
It's got to make the truck.
LLV.
It's got to make the truck smell. But I mean, even at that, like, do you guys have to report that, or like, what do you do?
Most of the time, most of the stuff like that. Now, me personally, no, I have never had to. I mean, to me, it's like, if it was like, if I knew it was like a hard drug, yes, I would have reported it, obviously. But when it comes to weed or something like that, I just deliver it because to me, it's like I'm wasting time doing something that I could be working.
Yeah.
But no, there are other people, other carriers. Yeah, other carriers have obviously reported cannabis, weed, THC, all that.
What a bunch of narcs.
pretty much. Oh, that's all the
Yeah.
post office is. There's nothing but narcs in the office.
Now, I didn't realize this, that the United States Postal Service is the second leading employment of civilian Americans. I did not know that.
Yes.
It's like over 600,000 employees or so.
Yes, and it was so, and I hate to be the a-hole of this whole subject, but when I have people ask me like, "Oh, how do you apply?" Or, "Oh, I want to do this job. I want to do what you," I'll take one look at somebody and go, "No, you don't. You won't be able to do it." Yeah, because I've been doing this going on 5 years now, and I know there's plenty of people I know that they've done it 15, 20. Heck, there's actually somebody I know personally right now that's been doing this for over 40 years. And
is it a good pension? Do you guys get pensions if you're there long enough?
If you are a regular carrier, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, me, I'm an RCA, which is Rural Carrier Assistant. The only way I get a pension, insurance, all that fun stuff is if I become a regular carrier, which technically I'm next in line to be a regular carrier. Hoping that will happen before Christmas, I hope.
Is it a good difference in pay?
Yes. Because for me to have a regular route, my pay, my hours, everything will be consistent. Like my days off will be consistent. Me as an RCA, I don't have consistent days off. Like for instance, I'll be working I'll have Sunday off because of the holiday, but I pretty much work between 9 to 11 days straight most of the time because of lack of workers, people calling out. We actually just had a 3 weeks of hell at my office between a regular carrier not showing up for work. Basically, she's beating the system.
You guys have got to hate Christmas, right? You guys have got to hate Christmas time.
See, we went through a double whammy. We went through Christmas and a political season. This last year.
With the mail-in voting.
Yes, and see what really stuck for us is because we were still delivering political mail all the way until almost the second week of January. Stuff that should have actually been delivered back in December, we were still delivering because it was held back so much.
Now, Franklin, I this is one of the things I did want to ask. Does the name Patrick Sherrill ring a bell? You being a postman, does that name like ring a bell to you?
It sounds familiar, but you'd have to tell me.
It's the first guy that. It's where they coined the term "going postal." He was the guy.
Oh yes.
That killed 14. That killed 14 people. At the time, it was the biggest mass shooting in United States history. And I worked for a guy, Jim Phillips, and he said one of the reasons, like mail carriers, it's like no matter how hard you work, how fast you work, the mail never stops. Like you can work as hard as you want to, and it's just still coming. Like you're never going to finish getting stuff done. Is what it is. Does that make sense?
Yes. See, technical, yes and no. Okay, so me at my office, technically, we get there. Well, as me, I get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I have the mail that comes in pre-sorted. We have the clerks that are putting out mail that's not pre-sorted, the packages, all that. Usually, I can get out of the office by 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'll get back 4 or 5 o'clock. But at the plants,
do you ever get in there? Do you ever get in? Do you ever get in there asked for like delaying you because like if your stuff's not ready to go out?
We file grievances. We can. The clerks at my office, they're usually pretty good about staying on top of it and getting our stuff out and whatnot. We occasionally have those days where they're just not into it and they're going slow and talking to each other. But for the most part, our clerks will we're usually pulling down and getting out of the office by 10:30, 11 at the latest. But there are clerks that.
No, what I wanted to say though, have you ever seen a fellow postal worker like just lose his shit?
Oh yes, I have. Not at this office, but the first office I worked at. There were two instances. One was a clerk. She had it was during the holidays. There was some petty little drama going on between her and about four other coworkers, and they were overworked. They were working 13, 14-hour shifts a day, no days off because just the amount of packages, the mail coming in. And I remember very distinctly one morning, I got there at 7 o'clock in the morning, went to my case to start doing my stuff, and all of a sudden I hear a bunch of screaming. I turn around. She is literally grabbing the biggest package she can and is beating the living crap out of a coworker. And like 6 of us had to jump on her to hold her down. And she was not that, she was kind of a small person, but because the anger in her, she just became 10 times stronger. And the second time was there was a love triangle going on in that same post office, and the two dudes put 1 and 2 together, and they duked it out in the middle of the office.
See, I was going to ask you that. Was there a lot of hooking up between employees and the Postal Service?
It comes and goes. Bigger offices, yeah, it happens. Like my office, no, that it really don't go on because I mean it's just it's like me and about me and about 6 other people. We're all the younger ones, and then all the regular carriers, they're all older. They're in their 40s, 50s. They're stuff at my office.
Yeah, your signal's getting a little bad, so I don't know if like you're walking away from Wi-Fi or whatever. But one of the other questions I wanted to ask you is that do mailmen still walk a route anymore?
Yes. In other states, yes. My area, no. 99 point all of the routes in where I know of right now are all drivable routes. But there are places like up in New York, up in Delaware. I can't think of all the states right now, top of my head. I can't right now, but there are walking routes still.
Do mailmen carry anything to protect themselves, like from dogs? Because you've always heard the jokes of dogs hating the mailmen and stuff. Like, do the walkers it sounds like I'm talking about The Walking Dead when I say the walkers, but do they like carry mace or anything on them, like
yes,
to protect
they
themselves?
have dog repellent spray. They have even us in the vehicles. Every mail carrier is required to have dog spray within reach.
Do mail trucks ever get robbed? Like what I'm saying, like somebody would pull up and like do a mail truck carjacking.
Oh yeah, it happens more often than it makes the news.
Why is the Postal Service losing so much money right now? Is it because that we're basically, making Jeff Bezos and Amazon rich by basically, delivering stuff for them? I've never understood why we're not charging them out the ass a little bit more.
That, yes, and then also with a lot, you know how people say paperless, like, oh, I'm going paperless. I'll send you an email.
Checks don't get sent anymore either.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, because 90% of the revenue for the Postal Service is through letter sending and package sending. Now, when it comes to Amazon, now there's a contract we have with Amazon that, we deliver their stuff and everything. But what's so messed up about that contract is from what I understood, was it doesn't necessarily charge Amazon per package. It's like a lump sum.
And so they're just paying a big lump sum and they get to send out whatever they want then.
Pretty much. And see, that thing is, on Sundays, I work every Sunday. We do. It's called Amazon Sunday. We deliver Amazon. We deliver Amazon packages, and we deliver priority packages at the post office. That's what all I do on Sundays. What's so bad is I will actually deliver more Amazon packages than actual Amazon on that day.
Dude,
And,
you know what's funny? We got rid of our P.O. box because, we could get mail here at the Hobo Fish Camp, but we had always had a P.O. box, but they wanted to jack the rates up on a P.O. box, and we were like, it's not worth it. We'll just get it here. And that leads me to my final question. The guy that owns the park here, I catch him all the time because we got a big row of mailboxes for like every lot. And I always see him out there opening up mailboxes and stuff. And as long as he's not, is that an offense to open up somebody's mailbox but not take anything?
That is yes, that even if he's not touching your mail, him physically opening your mailbox, that is a big no.
Even if it's on his property, even though we're renters and stuff.
Yes, because that is what if that is not his actual mailbox, he is not to open it and look in there. I actually had a very big argument. We have a issue up here where I live with FedEx and Amazon putting packages in the mailboxes, and I almost actually got into a very big altercation with an Amazon driver because the route that I'm on all the time, he was going around putting Amazon packages in the mailbox, and I'm like, no.
And that's United States Postal Service.
Yes.
And
the guy tried to swing on me.
Yeah. All right. Who do you like more, FedEx drivers or UPS?
Honestly, UPS, because they are actually a lot more nicer with me. They don't purposely get in my way or block me. FedEx and Amazon are the pain in my anal tube.
Yeah. See, I've always heard this. Have you ever heard this before? That UPS actually plans out the route where they try to only make right-hand turns whenever delivering. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, I have. It's a weird common practice.
Is that because you're not waiting at lights and stuff?
Yes, because for me, I'm not ever supposed to take the left turn. Like in my vehicle, I'm not supposed to take a left turn, but because whatever I do, because there's sometimes I don't have a choice.
Are you driving on the left side or right side? Because I see some people like mail. Are you driving? Are you driving? Wait, so it's like you were driving in Europe then, right?
Yes. And before I got onto a regular route, I drove a 16-passenger van and would sit in the middle of that van. Like I would have a piece of wood across the seat, and I would sit there in the middle of the van, driving with one hand, with my left foot, and still putting mail outside the right window.
How weird is that to drive like on the other side of the car? Was it hard to get used to?
It took me maybe like 2 days. Honestly, God, it only took me like 2 days to adjust. But some people, if they don't have good hand and eye coordination, like as weird as it sounds, if you don't have good hand and eye coordination, driving on the right side of the vehicle for the first time, you are going to wreck because your brain is going to think as if you're in the left side of the vehicle.
Oh, so it kind of like crosses the wires a little bit almost.
Yeah, because I had to teach somebody how, because before they went to Atlanta, because we had to go up to Atlanta, you have like a 5-day training session up there, basically orientation. Then you have 4 days of mail training at another office. Then you have to wait a week, and then you have to go up to Atlanta again and have another 3 days of vehicle training. Before this person had went up to vehicle training, I taught them how to drive out of the right side. He almost plowed straight into a
Man, all right. So I just thought of two last questions. Okay.
Okay.
First question, I'll give you both of them. You can answer them. One, like, do you like when mailmen are delivering package hot MILFs or lonely wives that will hit on the mailman? And number two, have you ever heard any stories of a postman hooking up with a chick in the truck?
Yes to both, actually.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yes, I've actually had it personally happen to me. To the first
Wait,
question.
a woman
Oh,
hit on you?
yes, and it was one of those situations because when I'm at work, I don't think about stuff like that. Like I'm just like I'm in work mode, and I would have this woman who was obviously a MILF. She would almost time it to a science when I was getting to her road, and she would come out there in a see-through nightgown and
Wow.
no limited imagination. It would sit there at the mailbox trying to flirt with me. Now, me, because of how I am, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking, I gotta keep moving. I have a time limit to when I have to be back. And until one
Man, damn
day,
it.
one day, she literally walked out in the nightgown, was flirting with me, took
And
the nightgown off, and said, "Do you have 5 minutes?" And I went, "Nope," and I peeled off.
Man. So, but what about hooking up in the truck? Have you ever heard any stories?
Yes, there was actually at the previous office, there was a guy who would hook up with 3 different women throughout the week in his mail truck, and like these women would have they would like have certain day, like this one would have this day, this one would have that day, this one would have this day, and he did it apparently for 2.5 years before he got caught and was
I bet
fired.
there were some customers who were like, why is there white glue all over my package that I just got? So I'm just saying, Franklin, man, go ahead.
I was gonna answer your original question because you had asked me about the drugs going through the postal service.
Yeah. So, like, what are the rules to that? Because, like, if I was like hated somebody, I could just send drugs to them and kind of call in a call and be like, hey, they got drugs that are being sent to them or whatever. What's the rules on that?
I will tell you this. Now, see, because all these labels are geotagged, like where the label was made, who sent it, all this. Like if you were to go to the post office and buy the label there, or if you were to print that label, your label actually says where it was printed and where you were at. So say you were to send somebody a weed and then call it, oh, this person's getting, this person is getting a package of weed. Not only would the person receiving it get in trouble, they would track it back to you, and you would get in trouble.
Yeah. Now, were you ever? Or go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the reason why I know this is because the office I work at now, there was somebody was trying to do that, and they were sending little things of weed to people, and then was trying to report it, and they would, and then postal inspectors would come out. They would not only would they get the package and question the person that was getting it, they tracked it back to the person who was doing it and come to find out that this person had sent 5 or 7 different packages out like that, and then he got busted.
Were you ever worried? I saw a documentary on the Unabomber, that would mail stuff. Would you like ever worry about mail bombs, or you remember when they were sending anthrax through the mail and stuff? Like, I mean,
yes,
that would be something.
Yes, actually, this didn't make the news, but about 3 years ago, there was a bunch of packages sent out, like that got through inspections, got through warehouses and everything, and made it to people's houses that were small explosive devices. For almost a month, if I came across a package that had, because what it was these people were sending out all these packages, they would have a bunch of stamps on them. These packages would not look normal. And anytime we would get a foreign package, which because like I said, there's a bunch of stamps on it, it was the sending address was wrong, or it was just weird. We would kind of have to have that. We would have that like kind of like the oh crap moment because we didn't know. Like, and of course it never made the news media, but for almost a month we were scared of packages. Like we would like literally be nervous to even touch certain packages because we didn't know what was in them.
Yeah. Well, Franklin, man, I appreciate you taking the time. Whenever I was, the YouTube live stream. Have you been liking the YouTube live streams?
Oh yeah. I try to tune in when I get the alert on my phone when you go live, and if I'm not doing anything, I hop on and listen in.
Yeah. Did you I don't know if you heard that I had applied for a job up in Atlanta, but unfortunately I did not get it.
Yeah, I heard. I was like, man, that would have been cool because I would have got to actually get to meet you.
Yeah. I'll tell you off the air where and stuff, but no, man, I just wanted to thank you, and I think this was an interesting interview, and I really appreciate your time. Okay, do you want to plug anything? Do you want to tell people how they can find?
Oh man, I've due to certain life events, I have gotten off Twitter,
social,
TikTok. Okay. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate the time, Franklin. I hope you have a wonderful day, okay?
Wish you could have just flown and had your vehicle arrive a day or two later so you can enjoy more time doing what's important to you? Well, you can. Just give Starfire Transport a call. Let the professionals do the driving while you're flying. Starfire Transport specializes in RV and auto transport. They'll also haul watercraft from boats to PWCs, cargo trailers, and more. Service available throughout the continental United States. So don't wait. Call Brian today at 574-349-4193 or 989-751-6106 for your next move. 10% off for veterans past or present. Also, make sure to tell them Tuddle sent you for an additional discount. That's Starfire Transport. Want to support the show? Go to paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio.
Welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast, last segment of the day. I hope you guys don't get annoyed, but I am really, really working on this YouTube page. You can do me a favor. I mean, you guys already know about the Tuddle Daily Podcast, but if you guys could tell your friends, family, loved ones, if you haven't already subscribed, please do it. Go to youtube.com/Tuddle, hit that subscribe button. And as well as that, make sure you hit that little bell button, because if you hit that bell button, you're going to get alerted anytime I go live or upload any new content. Finally, I want to get into my last news story of the day. I was talking about this the last time that I hung out with Colton, which was about 2 weekends ago. And that was when the Northeast was getting hit by that tropical storm. And I find it very, very funny, because America has so many different types of environments. We got deserts, we got mountains, we got forests, we got subtropical type areas. We got very, very cold-ass places in the United States. So it just varies from region to region. And what I'm trying to say is I just found it hilarious how all the New Yorkers were making such a big deal about that tropical storm that they had a couple of weeks ago. Do you know what Floridians have to say about tropical storms? It's like, I would not even change my schedule for the day because of a tropical storm here in Florida. But up there, man, they're just not prepared for it. They have overbuilt. They took that little island of Manhattan and just kept building and building and building. They created a subway in an island, so it's going to flood. And they got some pretty big rain, I got to tell you, from what was left over of Hurricane Ida. And all the subways, everything was absolutely flooded. And then they got like 9 inches of rain in Central Park in 1 hour. I know that probably doesn't seem a lot when it comes to Floridians, because we're used to hurricanes. I've told all of you guys this. Unless it's a Category 3 or higher, we don't start taking it very, very seriously. Like, even a Category 3, we're still partying. We're still looking for any excuse to have a hurricane party. But I made this joke before. If you see the Waffle House closing, that's when you might want to start worrying. If you see IHOP or Waffle House closing, yeah, you might want to start putting up some boards. You might want to think about getting out of Dodge. But Hurricane Ida really, really messed up New Orleans. And the next story that I'm going to play for you, you would never think in a million years that you would get attacked by an alligator in the first level of your own home.
Guys, this is a pretty unbelievable story. Investigators tell me a 70-year-old man is dead tonight after being attacked by an alligator inside his own house. It happened hours after Hurricane Ida made landfall.
I like to always ask a question of the day because I do like getting engagement from the supporters of the content that I'm putting out for the Tuddle Daily podcast. But one of my biggest fears is getting eaten alive by another animal. I mean, like, I want a quick death. If it's a quick death, I won't know that I'm dead because I'll be dead. Just like I said, you don't remember before you were born. You're not going to remember after you die. But to get eaten by an alligator, you know, alligators cannot chew their food. They usually just drag their prey down. And this goes as well for crocodiles. They drag their prey underwater to drown them, and they can't chew. You know what they do? They go into that death roll. Now, for number one, living in Louisiana, you got to know that there's a lot of alligators. But I would like to hear from you. Tuddle@gmail.com or leave me a voicemail 407-270-3044. What would be the worst animal to get eaten by? And I know that mine, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, what do you mean, Tuddle? The African painted wild dogs, they don't even try to kill their prey. They're like land piranhas. I saw them catch a impala one time, and they had nothing but bones left within about, I would say, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And to be able to just get eaten alive. And then I saw them also eat a warthog. You know, a warthog is a little bit tougher than an impala. And just to be eaten alive, it just, I find that absolutely just terrifying. And I would like to hear from you. What animal would you not want to get eaten by? Because say what you want, even though lions at sometimes they'll eat their prey alive, but for the most part, they kind of go for the jugular and kill people. But I would like to hear from you. Tuddle@gmail.com or 407-270-3044.
The St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office tells us they got a 911 call around noon this afternoon, but weren't able to respond right away due to problems with the 911 system. When they responded this afternoon, they learned from the man's wife he had gone downstairs to check on things in his shed after Ida had moved in.
I'm not telling you what I'm about to tell you to make my ex-wife look bad, but, like, she said if she had a family or kids or whatever, you know, during Katrina, a lot of people couldn't get out because they didn't have the money. There's a lot of poor people in New Orleans. My wife said if we had kids and we didn't have money, guess what? You got to do what you got to do to survive. If I got to give hand jobs or whatever, let's do it. Matter of fact, I was like, I'll join you. I will be right there jacking it right along with you to be able to get me, you, and if we ever had kids, to be able to get out of Louisiana before Hurricane Katrina came in. But I don't understand. Like, was the first floor flooded? And why wouldn't you keep the front door locked so alligators didn't get into your goddamn living room?
There was about 4 feet of flooding on the ground level of the house. Listen to what happened next.
She was inside. When he went downstairs, she heard the commotion. She opened up the back door and saw that he was getting attacked by the alligator. She went down the steps and tried to do her best to fend off the alligator.
We all hear about the pit bull attacks, about how they don't like to let go. once an alligator has you in his grasp of his jaws, there's not getting out of it. And then if you're lucky enough that he doesn't do the death roll on you, like seriously, if an alligator grabs a hold of you, there's not getting out of it because it's got the strongest bite per square inch when it comes to pounds than any other animal in the animal kingdom.
When the alligator released the gentleman, she pulled him up the steps a little bit, went upstairs to get some items to render aid. When deputies got out here, they noticed that there was a large amount of blood, and then learned from his spouse that the gentleman, the body was no longer present.
A gator's got to eat. The gator's got to eat. You know, I'm not trying to make jokes, but, I mean, you don't want to go into the swamp. University of Florida Gators coming up this Saturday against Florida Atlantic. Hopefully we do Florida Atlantic like this old guy. And it's just jokes, man. Just jokes. Sorry. But as soon as that gator saw that old lady go back upstairs, he's like, all right, I guess this is my signal for a free meal. And he just went for it. So that's just a gator being a gator. Sorry.
Now, as bizarre as this story sounds, it is quite common for there to be large gators in this area.
Duh. It's Louisiana. I mean, there's a whole reality TV show called Swamp People that revolves around and just covers these old coon dicks out in the Louisiana bayou just shooting alligators with shotguns right in the head. So yeah, you would think that, oh, maybe I should keep the garage door closed. Oh, maybe I should make sure that the front door is double closed. Oh, maybe I shouldn't go downstairs because there might be a 9 or 10-foot alligator that's going to eat me.
Investigators say they did search for the body in these floodwaters, but so far have been unsuccessful. So for now, this will be treated as a missing persons investigation.
Not trying to shock jock here, but if you want to find him, just look for alligator poop. Just saying, because he's long gone. He's already getting turned into poop. He's going to be washed up somewhere. You're not going to find that body because gators have some of the strongest stomach acids right behind the African hyena. So it's really, really sad that this guy died the way that he did. But guess what? Should have gotten out of town. Should have known better. Locked the front door twice. Put some sandbags in front of it. Closed the garage door. Why were you even going down there? If you had 2 stories, matter of fact, I know a lot of people that live in Louisiana, they always say you bring an axe when you go upstairs with you in case you have to get into the attic. And if it gets really, really bad, you use the axe to cut through the roof. I don't know. I hope that it didn't piss a bunch of people off with those comments and stuff. I just thought